All right, it's live. Awesome. All right, so I feel like I know more reading about you and Blendor and like everything that you've been doing, but why won't you tell everyone what you've been working on and yeah, about Blendor especially, so.
Sure. So yes, I am the founder and CEO of Blendor, which is a mobile job matching app that utilizes a blind recruiting sort of strategy in order to circumvent unconscious bias and thus increase diversity in sourcing of talent for tech companies specifically. So we've been in operation for about 10 months now. It started with winning a hackathon with the idea about a year ago, and I moved to San Francisco to accelerate growth. And we now have about 17 companies committed to pilot. We've been fundraising, raised a little bit of seed capital, and recently accepted in the Stanford StartX. So now we are focused on our official public launch next month, which I'm really excited about. My team is comprised of about 5 people now, and we're looking to grow. But I'm really excited because the discussion around diversity in tech is still really important, really hot. Companies are scrambling to find solutions to change the numbers. And I'm really hoping that Blendor will be an opportunity for companies in tech and even other industries to realize that we are out there, qualified women, minorities, LGBTQ, veteran, and disabled candidates. They just may not be using the right resources to find us or looking in the right places.
Awesome. And like, how did you get into tech? What like got you into like the tech industry?
Yeah, so I actually started coding when I was 13. My auntie was one of those 37% of female computer science graduates in 1984. So she graduated from University of Maryland College Park and got into the tech industry in Connecticut way back then, and then got me involved in this organization, this professional organization that she was a part of called Black Data Processing Associates, BDPA for short. And so I got active in BDPA when I was in high school, and they had these high school computer competitions. So they would teach us how to code all summer, and then at the end of the summer, we'd go to wherever the national conference was and compete with other teams around the country in programming. And this was way before the term hackathon even became a buzzword in the 90s. So I've been in it for a while. And so from that, I was able to get technical internships in undergrad, um, and then a 5-year career at Microsoft.
Awesome. And like, so then how did you make that jump from having such a like lucrative career in Microsoft, it seemed, right, to like starting your own company? Because that seems like a very scary leap too.
Yeah, I think I always had the entrepreneurial spirit in me. I come from a family of strong entrepreneurial women, mind you, mostly lifestyle businesses. But my mother left corporate America when I was probably about 7 or 8 to do primarily like network marketing type stuff, so like Mary Kay and Amway and stuff like that. So I've always seen her take control over her career in that way. So I think in me was always the spirit of like, if I really want to be happy, I have to start my own. But then, you know, moving to Silicon Valley in the early 2000s and seeing how successful people were coming right out of college, creating disruptive companies, I think I really had that bug, but still needed, you know, validation. So I took the job at Microsoft and then went to business school. And it wasn't until after business school that I felt like I really had the foundation that I needed to just start my own company. So immediately after graduating from Sloan, I started my first venture, which was a travel tech company called Who and Where. And that was definitely a learning experience. I was in New York, really wasn't making a lot of traction, but I had a lot of great lessons along the way. And so that transition from that startup to the one that I'm currently in. And it's a commitment, it's a risk, a little bit of insanity. But I think if you have the mindset and the risk appetite for entrepreneurship, then it's something that is easy for you to stay committed to.
Awesome. Now, what would you say to, I guess, people or students who want to get into tech or want to get into, yeah, I would say getting into tech as like specifically like a technical field? What would your tips be or advice?
My advice would be find your niche. I think the perception, particularly in underrepresented communities, is that, oh, I need to learn the code. But there are many different facets of being involved in the tech industry, whether you are in design, whether you are in sales, whether you're in marketing. Ultimately, we are in an era where IT is driving everything. And so if you are not with it, you are definitely going to be left behind. There's a lot of questions now about how are we going to drive the new middle class now that everything revolves around tech. And I think even if you, like I said, you don't find pleasure in programming, you need to determine how you can do what you love, but incorporate technology in a way and learn the foundations of it. The hardest part is really just getting started. I think there's this mental block that prevents people from even just going on YouTube and watching a video about how to build a HTML-based and CSS-based website. I mean, there's a lot of free resources out there. You just got to get started.
Awesome. And like, were you able to get those, I guess, companies to agree to pilot you with Blender? Did you just go out and make calls, or, because I think a lot of people get scared of doing like the first step. So I guess what was your first step and how did you just jump into it?
So again, I had a big lesson learned from my previous startup in that you have to have a working prototype. You can't really start talking with customers and pitch your idea or just show a PowerPoint deck with nothing that they can really touch and feel. So I literally spent, back to the e-learning piece, I literally spent 3 months on lynda.com and YouTube, kind of reteaching myself to code and also learning the specific frameworks that I needed for this app. Just locked myself in a room for 3 months to build it, and I built it myself. And so I was able to use my networks to say, oh, hey, I see you work for Facebook. Can you connect me with the head of diversity or the head of recruiting or someone in HR who you think would be interested in a diversity recruiting app? And so once that happened and I got these meetings, you kind of have to go in with confidence saying, hey, I built this, but it's still a work in progress. Tell me what you think and tell me how can it become better to meet your specific needs. And so people were really receptive to that. When not only you have a good idea and a good product, but you're really willing to incorporate their feedback. So I started with Intel and then Facebook, and then I started pitching. And next thing I know, I had companies reaching out to me unsolicited, wanting me to come in and demo the product. So if you have something good, people will come to you. And if you don't have the full idea fleshed out, I encourage you to take advantage of taking meetings with people just for the sake of getting feedback with the customers that you're directly targeting.
Awesome. Now, would those be great ideas for just like pitching for anything then? Like, for instance, I know it seems like you're a whiz at those business competitions or those pitch competitions. Because every time I see you, it's like you've won another pitch competition. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, the secret sauce to the pitch competition is telling a compelling story. And doing so in a way that it really resonates with your audience. So for me, it was actually telling my personal story about how, I grew up, I started in very humble beginnings and I learned to code really early. And I did, AP computer science in high school, Stanford engineering undergrad, Microsoft, MIT, and I interviewed for Google for an analytical lead position. And at the end of it, the recruiter basically said, we don't think you're quite technical enough, but we'll hold on to your resume in case a more sales or marketing position opens up. And that's after all of this, dog and pony show I feel like I've been doing for the prior 16 years in tech. So I tell that story in my pitch. And I think for people, it not only humbles me on stage in a way that people can find relatable, but it makes it all make sense why I'm so passionate about what I'm doing. And I do all that in under 3 minutes. So it's very tough, but I think if you can somehow incorporate a really great story with a really great product idea so people can really understand the significance of what you're doing, and also knowing your numbers and your industry, et cetera. That's really the power of the pitch for the most part.
Awesome. Now, I guess I might have two final questions.
Okay.
One of them is what are tips that you could give to someone who's getting into or trying to find employment in tech? Like they have the resume, they have the tech experience, and they're out of college and they want to get into it.
Yeah, so actually a really great learning experience for me has been scrubbing through job descriptions. And I've been doing that for the purpose of Blendor, but it's really helped me realize the specific skills that companies are looking for. And so I think if for those of you who are interested in getting your feet wet in this space, just go through job descriptions and see what are the programming languages that are hot right now. What are the skills? What are the ways in which I can develop my current skill set so that I can be a viable candidate? And then take that, and again, back to the e-learning, go somewhere and figure it out, learn it, start a project. A lot of companies now, particularly if you're coding, if you don't have a large GitHub profile, they won't even consider you. I think the day of the traditional resume will soon be gone. And companies will really want to see, like, what have you actually built? Show me a portfolio, what you've done, that can effectively show that you're capable of performing at this level.
Awesome. And then my final question is, do you have a date of when Blendor is going to be out to the public? And
we don't have a specific date just yet, but it will be next month.
Yay! Awesome. All they have to do is go to your website, blendor.com, or
Yep.
it can also be on the App Store. Or...
So our initial release will be an HTML5 app. So basically what that means is it'll be a mobile app, mobile only, but you'll access it through the browser of your phone, and it's not anything that you have to download. So yeah, you can go on our website now, and there's a big button that says sign up, and that will put you on the email list to receive first access to the app. And then, yeah, you click the link and it'll open up a web browser on your phone, and you'll be able to log on with Facebook or LinkedIn or create a new account and browse away.
Awesome. Great. Well, thank you so much for taking time to talk to me and Pocket, and this was wonderful. I'm going to stop the broadcast now.